So, guys, overall, I haven't asked you guys what you guys think of the Browns draft. Overall, going with Baker Mayfield first and Denzel Ward. What are your thoughts on those few picks here in the first round?
My initial thoughts when I was watching the draft was I didn't like it. I'll be blatantly honest with you. I did not like it. I said, okay, well, Baker Mayfield, if that's the guy they chose, that's the guy they chose. And I'm like, okay, as the draft went through, I'm like, all right, cool. Bradley Chubb is there, Bradley Chubb. And then they went Denzel Ward, and I was a little upset. But, I kind of slept on it, and now I'm just like, you know what, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Like, I was telling you guys earlier today, my only hope for Baker Mayfield is that he doesn't play this year. And I think the Browns are going to try and make that happen at all costs with the free agent and trade acquisitions they made with Tyrod Taylor and Drew Stanton. So we'll see. We'll see if they can fight the pressure, because the fans are going to be fighting for Baker to get on the field. But I hope the longer of the picture is, he's the quarterback of the future. He's the franchise guy, and if that's who it is, then that's who it is. And we'll roll with it, and we'll go there. But overall with the Browns, we'll see. That's kind of my whole thing. We'll see how it goes, because John Dorsey said of himself, you won't know how good your draft is until 2 or 3 years down the line.
See, I don't think. I in the interview, Fred had mentioned that he can't get away from the Johnny Manziel comparisons. Just in stature, gaudy numbers in college, questionable off the field activities. I think there's a complete difference between the two of them. I think where I think I do see a bit difference is that not everybody wanted Baker Mayfield. When the Browns traded up to get Johnny Manziel, that was like the most exciting thing that could have happened. And everyone was all about it. Not me particularly, but it was like, all right, well, that happened. And then the Browns win games with a hometown quarterback as the quarterback, and they still want to get him out of there in favor of Manziel. Fast forward to 2018, you have a quarterback in Tyrod Taylor who led a team to the playoffs last year. He was won a football game in the NFL, which is something that literally no quarterback in the room last year could do.
It was proven, in fact, they couldn't do it.
I don't think he's lost. I think he's won at least 7 games every year he's started.
And I don't think the public pressure to play Baker Mayfield is going to be close to what it was when Johnny Manziel was here. I don't think it will. I mean, I know he's.
I guess it
would happen. It would be worse if the Browns started off like 0-5, and then I could see that happening. But if they start out anywhere close to what they were when Brian Hoyer was the quarterback, at no point will there be a cry to have Baker Mayfield play.
To go on top of that, Ed, I think the pressure will be there from the fans, but I think the difference is this front office, coaching staff, even all the way up to the ownership, they're all what they seem to be on the same page as to, hey, Baker Mayfield's our guy, but this is how we're going to play him. And everyone seems to be on the same page. There wasn't like, oh, well, this is the owner's pick, the coach doesn't want him, like it was on Johnny Manziel. And let's be honest, the Browns and the Browns fans are the only fan base and team in the NFL that can make any comparisons to Johnny Manziel because we lived it.
Yeah.
If we were any other team, that wouldn't even be in the conversation.
I mean,
I would agree with that.
You look at Baker Mayfield, and I'm going to say this, and it's
Did you look into his eyes like you looked into
Sam
Darnold's eyes?
I looked into Sam Darnold's eyes, and in 2 years, every freaking Browns fan is going to be thanking their lucky stars they didn't pull the trigger on that guy. If he does well in New York, good, but I don't see it. I'm sorry. He looks like the moment is too big for him. Maybe he grows out of that. But here's the thing. If you put Baker Mayfield's college statistics and measurables and will to win into Sam Darnold's stature, then you have a consensus pick, number one pick. If Baker Mayfield was 6'2" instead of 6 feet, he's the number one. He's the consensus number one pick, and no one says a word. But because he's not a pure Ben Roethlisberger, he's not a Carson Wentz, he's not even a Jared Goff. He's a short-statured guy who makes plays with his feet. He gets that unfortunate comparison to Johnny Manziel. Now, I think he's heads and shoulders above Johnny Manziel talent-wise and the ability to win the football game. So I had no problem with Baker Mayfield. What I had a problem, I guess, initially with you, Josh, was Bradley Chubb's there. You take him, he's that solidifies your defensive line for a long time. But I wasn't mad at Denzel Ward either.
No.
It was one of those things where I'm like, you're at 4, and I don't think that I really do not believe they were expecting Bradley Chubb to be on the board. I think that he was there. They truly stuck to their board, and they said, we want Denzel Ward. And I think it also speaks to how well Emmanuel Ogbah's played alongside Myles Garrett. I mean, the top 3 positions in the NFL are left tackle, or quarterback, left tackle, and pass rusher. We addressed pass rusher last year's draft with Myles Garrett. We until recently, we have to now address left tackle, but for the longest time we had Joe Thomas, so you didn't have to address that. And now you address quarterback, and I think you can even slot in a cover corner as the number 4 in this passing league.
That is the number 4.
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
100%.
so I mean, so it's not like they went and got a punter or they went and got a tight end or a receiver. They went and got like a legit need.
One of the best corners in the draft.
The best corner in the draft.
And with their trade,
purposes.
of the corner from is it Darius Randall? Is that what it is?
Demarius Randall.
Demarius Randall
from Green Bay.
From Green Bay, who's now going to be moved to a more free safety position, which frees up a Jabril Peppers to play a strong safety. And now you've got a young corner on one side with McCourty on the other, a veteran who's been back there. Or who's not – McCourty's not there anymore?
We traded him.
We did?
Yeah, they signed Carey.
New England.
Moves.
Carey.
So many moves.
And E.J. Gaines, too.
Yeah.
And they still got Jamar Taylor in the back there, too, but I think he's going to be expendable.
Yeah.
Once we drafted Denzel Ward, that made Jamar Taylor expendable.
Okay. Again, so many moves. But, again, I mean, you're not necessarily – you had to address something on your defense. And yeah, you could have taken Bradley Chubb, and that would have been great. I mean, either one of those players is good. I just think maybe there was a more pressing need at corner in the secondary because Jabril Peppers is basically playing deep center field. That can't happen. And when you bring
I don't
in,
think that'll happen this year.
Yeah, when you bring in Randall from Green Bay, and now you have Denzel Ward on one side, and
T.J. Carey.
T.J. Carey,
he was the free agent from Oakland.
Okay, and a guy like that, who's a veteran who can play in the league, now you have a pretty good secondary, and you still have Ogbah and all those other really good players, Jamie Meter, on that defensive line. So it's not like you just.
The defensive line is to your point, Sean. I think I support. I agree with you. The defensive line is pretty good right now. Yeah, you have good depth on the outside.
I think we all got. But I think when it came to Bradley Chubb, I think we all bit into the hype of him possibly being the best player in the draft.
Right.
So just maybe the ghost of the nightmares of the past drafts we had of overlooking or not picking the best players that we should have been. Maybe that just got to the best of us, but. They, like you guys both said, they addressed a very important need of a cover corner, and they got the best cornerback in the draft.
Well, and John Dorsey actually acknowledged he was asked about why they selected Denzel Ward over Bradley Chubb, and he said he had Chubb and Ward on his board neck and neck, but he thought that the corner position was more of a need for them, especially when you have guys like Antonio Brown and A.J. Green in the league, where the Browns were probably statistically one of the worst when it came to the secondary position. So having a cover corner who he thinks is going to be that lockdown corner to cover the number ones on other teams, he thought was a really big value. And, they thought he wasn't going to slide past 10, which I don't know if he would have slid past 10. If they would have traded back
Denzel
to 12,
Ward? No. Absolutely not.
I think he would have been picked.
Top 10.
So, when you look at it, a lot of people said, it was too high. Well, what's too high when you can have a cover corner who can lock down on other number ones? You got to take him.
Has the potential to lock down. We don't know.
You're right. He has the potential to do that.
They finally picked a player from Ohio State, which should satisfy a lot of people in the area.
Well, that's a bit. I mean, I don't understand for the last 20 years why they've not done that more. I mean, a lot
of it is just you that struggle to find the quarterback and addressing offense. But I mean, I don't
disagree with you on
that.
But.
I mean, where they were picking is so high up, that means obviously there's a glaring need offensively, and a lot of the best players that came out of Ohio State, with the exception of Ezekiel Elliott, have been defensive players. I mean, the really good players anyway.
Well, they had a chance at Marshawn Lattimore last year, who plays in the secondary, and they went for
defensive
Jabril.
Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and they went for Jabril Peppers. They kept trading back and passed over Lattimore and a bunch of other really good players last year.
But Peppers, I think, had more of a dual threat with the returning game and things like that. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
they took Jabril was good in college as well. I mean, he's, like you said, could play different positions.
I mean, overall, I'm really impressed with the Browns draft. I like the fact that they addressed the offensive line because they need to now.
Yep.
I don't necessarily understand why they picked essentially an interior lineman when they needed a left tackle, but I guess maybe they thought that McGlinchey out of Notre Dame would maybe fall lower to where they could actually trade up. I don't think anyone was expecting McGlinchey to go 6.
No, I agree with that.
Quentin Nelson was off where he went. I was actually pretty surprised, but then McGlinchey off in the top 10. That's 2 consensus All-Americans that have been very, very good at Notre Dame.
Well, Corbett did play left tackle at Nevada last year.
Actually, he took over for Bitonio all 4 years.
But Bitonio was a guard, I thought.
Bitonio played left tackle
at
Nevada.
Okay.
So he played left tackle for a while. Corbett took over, played left tackle. I mean, he could play the interior, and obviously you had Mitchell Schwartz and Joe Thomas on the team when Bitonio was drafted. So there was no need for him to play tackle, and now he's settled in. He's one of the best guards in the league right now.
Yeah, they just don't – I don't want them to do something stupid like move him to tackle. Let him be a good guard in there.
Bitonio?
They Treader and Zeitler.
Yeah.
Let that be the consensus. And Hubbard that we got out of Pittsburgh and – who knows who else we can get. I think let this I can't think of his name. I don't know the guy we just drafted.
Austin Corbett.
I think he, like I said, he could be the next Joel Bitonio, and you could lock them up for the next 10 years. That'd be great. And then you've addressed your issues. And getting a guy like Nick Chubb, where he did, that's a very good pickup because if he becomes the player he was 2 years ago, before Sony Michel and came along.
ACL injuries.
Yeah, an ACL injury. But we've seen those people, the running backs bounce back from that particular injury pretty well. So I think it bodes well for the offensive side of the ball, and then defensively, just got to get some more hitters and some more playmakers.
So last question before we take a break here. Were you guys happy overall then with the Browns draft? Looking at 1 through basically the 6th, 7th rounds.
Again, I'm just going to go on and say we'll see. I mean, this is an important draft for them to get it right and finally start moving forward. They went ahead and signed a lot of veterans who are in there for their second contracts, which are pretty much the prime years for them. So now let's just wait and see what happens. I mean, that's all you could do. I don't want to put too high of expectations on it because if that happens and they don't live up to it, then you're disappointed and you say, here we go again. So I'm going to think positive, but I'll just wait and see how the coaches develop and all that. I like the direction that the team is going in. You can go nowhere but up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm with you. I mean, at the end of the day, they've filled a lot of needs. You take a chance here and there. I mean, the Browns can't afford not to take chances, and that's what they did with Antonio Callaway. Mm-hmm. If he pans out, he could be Tyreek Hill all over again. For the Browns this time around. So, it didn't cost you really much to get him. Why not?
He could be Josh Gordon Part 2. You never know. I mean, with that, but again, you're not mortgaged to the hills on him. I like the draft. I was a big fan of pretty much every move. Made sense. There wasn't a lot of moves that made me scratch my head. Even Baker Mayfield really didn't make me scratch my head because, again, there was no true consensus number 1 pick. There was a group of 4, and you pick the best one that's going to fit your offense. So we don't know. Maybe Sam Darnold is the best guy for the Jets offense. Maybe Josh Rosen was the perfect fit for Arizona. For all we know, this could be like the Flacco-Ryan draft where those guys went to the teams they were supposed to go to. And they're both considered very good players in that draft. Who knows?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Again, 2 to 3 years, we'll have to wait to see.
I think Denzel Ward's going to make a big impact this year.
I hope so.
I think he could be in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
It'll be fun to see what happens at training camp with some of these battles, too. So we'll see what happens. But we'll step away. We'll take a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the Cavs playoff run.
Playoffs?
Yeah.
Talking basketball playoffs?
We're live from Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley, Ohio. I'm Rob Troutman, Josh Jeffy here, Ed Dick, and Sean Duffy. We'll be right back after a short break.